creative friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are working with the Elle Studio June kit release. Now, I loved these circle die cuts and they were the jumping off point for this layout. They were my favorite part of the release this month. They are so fun, they are bright, they're colorful, their colors match the other elements in the kit obviously. And what you can't quite tell right now is each circle has some type of element that can be punched out. Like right there you can see the star. When you get the circles in the mail, they will have the either the word or the element still probably attached to the circle. Some of them will fall out in the package, but see right there you could see some what appear to be solid circles. They're actually not solid. There's some type of element, either an icon or a word, that you can punch out. Oh, see right there, I'm punching out the sunburst and the sun rays. So what I ended up doing is I punched out all of the icons and the words and I put them in that small tray that I had that's now off screen, and I saved every piece. And some of those punch outs I am going to use on this layout for embellishing. And some of the words and icons I am going to use on other projects later in the month. So definitely the positive and negative spaces on the circle die cuts are very useful and very fun to work with. So when I first saw the circles, I thought with a repeated element, it would be great to do a grid style layout. And so I have picked out a lot of the colors or shapes or icons that I thought would go well with my story. I am now flipping through the Sunny Days paper pack because what I want to do is punch out some 3-inch circles with a 3-inch circle punch that I have in my stash and use it as a layering piece to these die cuts. And these die cuts measure 2.5 inches in diameter. So I thought that would be great. You can have a small border around the die cut, and then you can also have like a peekaboo element. That sunshine down at the bottom is a great example. I moved the green, but you can tell how it had a dark green border, and now when the green's underneath the sun, you can see the sun a little bit more prominently because of the color that pops out. So I'm going through the paper pack and I'm looking for patterns or colors that kind of give more of a solid impression. Now obviously this is not solid, this is a striped paper, but when I punch out the circle, I just get some solid bits of color, solid stripes, as opposed to, I didn't want to use this ledger here because it's going to be, or maybe I do use it. Actually, I do. I take that back. I did use that ledger. And in this particular instance, it does give off kind of a solid, almost like a solid white background. This is a better example. It's got the waves, which I love that paper. I love the colors and I love the wave look. It's technically not a solid, but it gives the impression of just some solid without a lot of print on it. So now you'll notice some of my pictures, actually all my pictures, are quite a bit smaller. I'm looking at my punch there going, what just happened here? So I had intended to, I didn't intend, I actually did pull my photos into Photoshop and I measured them to be 2.5 inches. When I printed them out and punched them out, it occurred to me what I thought was a 2.5 inch punch in my stash, which was actually a 2.25 inch. Doesn't sound like that big a deal, and in the end it totally isn't. However, it means that the borders were different sizes on all the circles, and at the time it just didn't look quite right. So what I did is I pulled out some of the 2.5 inch die cut circles that I did not use, and I used them as backings to my pictures. And on this particular circle that you're seeing, it's 3 layers. So the picture, the backing, and then the final 3-inch circle, final backing. I really struggled with the decision to do that because I loved these circle die cuts and I didn't want to waste them when they weren't totally being seen and utilized in the best way. But I didn't have a 2.5 inch punch, so I had to use what I had on hand. And I figured, you know what, I'll just get another packet of these circle die cuts so I can use the ones that I ended up having to use as just kind of a pattern paper or a solid paper to do my circle layers. So now I am adhering all of my circles down to my white cardstock. I am using my 6 by 12 inch ruler to first mark the center of my cardstock, find the 6 inch point, and roughly put the center of my circle where the dot would be. And then when I'm measuring the corners, I believe I measured 2.5 inches in from the top, 2.5 inches from the bottom. And that's about where the center of the corner circles are going to be. And then I just use my ruler to line up the edges. So I am pretty close to having as perfect of a grid as I can with human measuring and adhering. So I think just for a few more seconds, you're going to see me adhering down the different layers of the circles and the grid pattern on all of these. Now on that top circle, I think I had talked over what I was doing at the time. As you may have seen that I punched out a 2.25 inch circle from one of the 3x4 cards. I needed a place for journaling, and I thought what a great way to use one of the tags. I punched out the lined images, and here, this is when I'm noticing, oh wait, I put the punched out image on the 2.5 inch die cut, but I forgot on that element to punch out a 3 inch additional circle. So that's why you see the tape lined up, and now I'm going back into my paper pad to find another backing. And I find this light blue with some stars, and it's going to work out great. So I needed another layer on that one. So basically 4 of my circles have 3 layers and the others have 2. And actually I think it looks great. I actually was not the way I planned the layout to come together, but I kind of like the fact that some of the circles are a little bit different. So now let me tell you a little bit about this story. It all started with that center picture that has the big, bright orange Home Depot buckets. I had been going back through my camera roll from older years. This ends up being a 2015 story and from photos from that year. When my kids were younger, I used to get just a very small, inexpensive summer gift to kind of kick off the start of summer. I'd give it to them the last day of school, and it was always some type of toy or activity they could do outside. And it was kind of a way to motivate them to get outside and play during the summer. This particular gift was 2 water soakers from the dollar store, so not expensive, 2 bright orange Home Depot buckets, because we used to put water in the buckets and then they could pull out water and squirt each other, and then it was a slip and slide. So I wanted to tell this story because now that my kids are older, I don't do this anymore. And I also loved how the orange buckets was the same orange as in that orange die cut circle at the top. I was like, this is gonna go so great together. So the pictures of my kids are the last day of school for both of them, and then I took a picture of the gift that they got when they got home from school that day. I love these puffy alphas and numbers this month. They have the colors of water, dark, light blue, teals. I just think they're so pretty. And it added just kind of a whimsical look to this layout, having the multicolored numbers. So I thought that was fun. Now, just for the next minute or so, you're going to see me auditioning different embellishments. I wanted to add more of this orange and more stars, so I could have at least 3 stars and 3 pops of the orange. I will also add some kind of word phrases and cardstock word phrases that are from the kit, some punch outs there. Right here, I'm finally adhering the sun with the sun rays with some glue. They were so small that I wanted to glue those down and not use tape runner. I was just afraid that they would fall and I would lose them. These white puffy word phrases that I'm holding right now are another favorite from this month. I love them. They're all different summer related phrases. I love any kind of puffy sticker. They are by far my favorite embellishment piece. I think on this layout I end up using Loving This, Summer Tradition, and Family Fun. So it was perfect. So basically I'm just going to spend some time trying to get 3 of everything. I want 3 hearts. I want to try to get 3 word phrases. I kind of debate what I want to do. I end up cutting that speech bubble portion off the bottom of this cardstock sticker, and I'm going to find another phrase to kind of layer with this. And so I just kind of have some fun playing around. So while we're waiting, while I finish this up, I'll just say if you have any comments or questions about how this layout came together, please leave me a comment below. I would love if you would like and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I think I'm almost done embellishing right now, and then you're going to see the last thing that I end up doing. I think I'm about to start journaling, so I'm just documenting the story that I just told you about our summer traditions that we used to do. And this is really fun for me to go back and look at these old pictures, because my kids are in high school now, and they were in elementary and even preschool for this layout, or in the pictures for this layout. So it's fun for me to go back on and look at all those. So my journaling was what I thought was going to be the last thing. And I'm looking at my layout and I'm like, I thought it was done, but I'm like, oh, it's missing something. What is it missing? And despite it being very colorful, I just thought it had too much white cardstock in the backing. So I go back to the paper pad and I cut 1/2-inch strips from this striped paper, and I make a border around the whole element. And I line up the edges so it looks like it's one continuous sheet of paper. So it's a 12-inch sheet rather than 2 6-inches. And I'm also roughing up the edges, especially where the 2 pieces of paper are adhering or butt up together, because it helps to not see if the stripes are not perfectly aligned. So I think this came out great. I love the final addition to with the border. It was so fun to do that and put it all together. I like having the extra color around the edges. I just think it makes the whole layout pop. So I will let you watch the last few seconds of this video. Like I said before, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Bye now.